All right, I think we'll go ahead and get it kicked off. So we'll just run through real quick the agenda, the things that we have to share with you today, and then we'll dive in. We'll start, and it is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, already in February. Here we go. All right, quick hits. We're going to recognize some of the things going on in the month of February. Then we're going to welcome new employees. We've got an update from DPA about a new training account everyone needs to log into. Actually, I'm kind of hitting all the quick hits, so why don't I just skip on to the next bullet. Pierce relocation updates, then presentation on Donor Alliance partnership. I've got a quick legislative session update. Then we're going to do a drawing for Fill Your Values Pie. And we've got a presentation of the February Always Help winner, and then Q&A at the end. All right, so let's jump into those quick hits I mentioned. All right, so there's a lot going on in February, something for everybody, in fact. We've got Super Bowl on February 9th. Some of you are probably happy about that. Many of you are probably not, but nonetheless, Super Bowl. Valentine's Day on the 14th, President's Day, which is a state holiday, is the 17th. And then we just, I guess, lunar, that's not easy to say, New Year was January 29th. And if you don't know, Lunar New Year is often called the Spring Festival or Chinese New Year. It's the most important holiday in China, and Chinese communities around the world celebrate this holiday. It's not only celebrated in China, but Vietnam, Korea, Malaysia, and Singapore also celebrate. It's a 2-week celebration with families and friends, feasting and fireworks, parades, and parties. Sounds like a pretty good time. And then also February is Black History Month. So there is a History Colorado event going on, and there's a link we can drop in to share that with you. This is a time to elevate and commemorate and celebrate African American history. So there's a number of exhibits and events that you can see there at History Colorado. We'll share that with you. All right, so have fun this February. It's not a long February. This isn't leap year, so it's going to be only 28 days. Get busy. Okay. Next, we'd like to welcome new employees to DOR. And you can see from this slide that we have had a lot of folks join our team. So happy to have all of you. And hopefully you have found the orientation to be helpful in this, if you're a remote employee, remote environment, if you're customer facing. Thank you for that. Our customers sure do depend on what we do. So happy to have all of you on the team. Welcome to DOR. And we'd like to recognize some of our current employees. Some kudos to Vehicle Services Unit. So these guys were working on a project called PRISM, and this is in cooperation with Colorado State Patrol. We are one of only 3 states to implement the expanded PRISM program. So what is PRISM? It gives the DMV and CSP the ability to identify and immobilize motor carriers in real time through technology connection with the Federal Motor Carrier Compliance Administration. If they have serious safety deficiencies, and then this way we're able to hold them accountable through registration and law enforcement sanctions. So it's just a system put in place to protect the public from any basically 18-wheeler, the big trucks that should not be on the road for one reason or another. So congratulations to that team. Thank you for getting that implemented. Appreciate all the work on that. Okay, so some real quick hits here. There's something new called the LXP account, and this is from Department of Personnel Administration, DPA, their Division of Human Resources, launched this it's the Learning Experience Platform, LXP, and that offers state employees access to statewide training and apparently a large library of on-demand learning resources. So sounds like it's worth getting logged into and kind of exploring the learning that is available to you there. If we could drop the link to History Colorado in the chat box for the Black History Month for that chat. And speaking of links, we're going to drop another link regarding this LXP so that you all have access. If you haven't already logged in and created an account, be sure and do that so that you will be able to take advantage of the offerings there. All right, next quick hit is that W-2s have been mailed to your home address, and they're available online through the employee self-service portal. I love just kind of catching people off guard, but if we can link to that, that would be helpful too. Just a direct link to the employee self-service portal. And it's tax season, so definitely don't procrastinate. You do have some time, but sooner than later is better. So your W-2s are ready, and it's time to start thinking about filing taxes. I'm going to tell you, it's not my favorite thing to do, but it is something that we all must do. Okay. Now let's move to federal administration updates. I suspect this could be why 567 people have logged in today. Here's the good news. There's a lot going on at the federal level. DOR is not impacted by a great deal of that, and that's good news for us. The reason I say that is we are primarily general funded and cash funded. And while sometimes that's not great for us because our cash funds run low, general fund is scarce, in this case, we're not dependent on federal grants. And we have other sister agencies who are highly dependent on federal grants. And so they are nervous, may have heard through some of the news that grants had been turned off at the federal level and then they got turned back on. There's quite a bit of confusion right now. We do know that the federal administration is looking at government spending, so we don't know what all that will entail. But as I said, DOR is, for the most part, really not impacted. We've got a couple of pretty small federal grants, and we're just keeping a close eye on that. But so far, our operations remain fine. Some of the other things that have come out of the federal administration, you may have heard that federal employees are going to be asked to return to work. And so there's been some questions, does that impact us at all? And it does not. We are state government and we're separate from the federal government. They don't have authority over where we work. And our state administration still supports our model. And so our hybrid and remote work environment is what we intend to continue with, certainly through this state's administration. I cannot speak for future administrations, so I will put a placeholder there. But through this, with this governor in office, this is the direction that we have been on and have been supported with. So no changes there. And then you also may have heard about potential furloughs, layoffs. That is something that could affect departments that receive federal funds. We don't expect those impacts to us. There's been no discussion of furloughs, layoffs to date at the state level. The state budget is tight, and so we're being very judicious in our spending and taking a close look at all of our budgets. But these are not things that have been discussed at the state level. And again, unless we were dependent on federal funding, those conversations that you're hearing as a result of the federal administration don't affect us, but could be affecting other state agencies. So we do have colleagues in other state departments that could be impacted. Hopefully that is helpful. Just as an overview, the information continues to flow. We have added, actually, the governor's cabinet meets once a week on Mondays. We have added a meeting on Fridays now as well, strictly to talk about things relevant to the federal administration, just so we can stay on top. So governor's office is tracking things very closely and keeping us informed. And so far, so good at DOR. All right, moving on. Next quick hit is PD updates. So your position description is a really important part of your role here at DOR. It is helps set the expectations so that you and your supervisors are agree on what your responsibilities are. It can be changed, it can be updated, and so it's important that we take a look at that at least once a year. And so now is a good time to update those position descriptions and meet with your supervisor and just make sure that everybody understands what the expectations of your particular role here at DOR are, and make sure they're included in the PD. And then the last thing that I want to talk about or share with you, I think I've mentioned this in a previous meeting, is we're starting our DOR town halls, and this is where leadership from the executive committee will be traveling out through different areas in the state to visit state employees that are located in outlying offices. So our first one is scheduled now in February. We'll be in Pueblo on February 26th, and then we'll head out to La Junta and Lamar February 27th. So we look forward to visiting the employees who are in those offices. And then there'll be some additional dates coming out in the next few weeks. So we look forward to seeing all you guys pretty soon. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Rick Johnson to give us an update on all of the relocation that is in the works. Rick?
Hi, Heidi. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yes, Rick Johnson, Chief Administrative Officer for the department. One of the items that I'm helping and overseeing support for is our moves, the Pierce relocation, but also other space planning and office utilization projects that we have going on. So to give you a few updates current of where we are at, the first item that I wanted to mention is our Westgate location. So currently it is our driver's license office that is on Wadsworth and Hamden, approximately over in Lakewood. And what we are doing is adding additional space to it, and that space is ready. And so we have moved in part of the ISD team, which is the Central Asset Management team. And that is also where our OIT warehouse is going to be located as it is moved out of Pierce. So there are still some moving pieces on this, which means that there are some people that will still be at Pierce from OIT, and then they are moving over to Westgate, and this is just that transition point. But that is just a location that we are adding to so as part of the Pierce relocation. Excuse me. The next location that I just wanted to mention is the Cole Boulevard office building that we currently have. So what we have done, and the Marijuana Enforcement Division and Natural Medicine Division have graciously given up their suite that they have housed for a little while, and they are co-locating with the Specialized Business Group. So their licensing center will be next to, and is currently next to, the Specialized Business Group licensing. So all of our licensing is in one suite. And then marijuana and natural medicine have moved behind our conference room. So we are all co-located on one floor in the Cole building. So a big thank you to all of the teams that have made that happen. We have licensing up and working for marijuana and natural medicine that is alongside the Specialized Business Group. And I actually, just a tidbit for your own facts, is we have moved in another state agency into the space that marijuana and natural medicine vacated. We have the the Department of Public Safety and the Fire Prevention Division that is moving in April into that space. So that was a great opportunity for us to have another state agency move in. The next item that I wanted to mention is our Denver Regional Service Center. So that is our new location as we move out of Pierce, that will have taxation, taxpayer services, our driver's license office, our lottery claims center, and our cashiers. That's going to be down located on our Auraria campus, and is going to have our bids due. So we have gone out to bid and have an advertisement out for construction to happen on that location. So those bids are due in 2 weeks from today. So lowest bid is how the state contract works. And if they meet our requirements and the bid comes in at the price that we can afford, we move forward with that build out of the Denver Regional Service Center down on the Auraria campus. So in 2 weeks, we'll have a lot more information on schedules and timelines. but we expect sometime in mid to late summer for that location to be up and operational and moved out of the Pierce location. And our final piece of the Pierce relocation is our Howard, or currently the CDOT headquarters, which is just south of Mile High Stadium at Colfax and Federal on Howard Place. So we are moving in back office support from the Pierce office to that building, and it's going to be our DMV team, our taxation team, again, lottery back office, and then our executive director's office team will be moving in. And those spaces are actually currently going through the initial phases of construction, and we plan to move in at the beginning of May for those divisions that I just mentioned. So a big thank you to the project teams, all of the divisions that have provided information. These are big, big moves and a lot of disruptions to our teams. However, we feel that overall, the whole intent of this is to get our teams into the nicest space possible while also utilizing the space that we need to and downsizing. So again, thank you to our project teams and the divisions for all your work on this. It's going to take everybody, so I appreciate it. From that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Electra with Donor Alliance.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. And good morning, everybody. I just want to point out that DMV is listed on every single one of those moves. So our folks are really working hard and to make sure that everything is streamlined when we make our moves. So, and thank you for the work on that. There's been a lot of work on that project. So I am happy to introduce our discussion today around Donor Alliance. And for those of you who don't know, Donor Alliance is really the overarching organization that drives organ donation across the country. And DMV and driver's license particularly are the #1 partners to ensure that people are organ donors. So I'm going to introduce a couple of statistics here related to Colorado's involvement in Donor Alliance, and then I'm going to turn it over to our comms team to talk about some of the new things we're working on from a comms strategy. So last year, if you didn't know, there were 300 donors across Colorado and Wyoming, and they provided 900 life-saving organ transplants. So those are 900 people positively impacted by people saying yes to organ donation. Also, nearly 1,700 tissue donors provided more than 100,000 tissue grafts to those in need. Again, we talk about organ donation, it's actually broader than that, and it includes tissue donation as well. In Colorado, about 66.2% of the people who come into our office or are online doing driver's license or identification credentials say yes to organ donation. The national average is about 49%. So we are way above the national average, but we want to make it even higher. So we have 3.5 million today, but we have a real focus to bringing that up to 70% or 75% of the people saying yes. And I'm going to queue up Kaylee McCormick with I think Kaylee, I see you, Elizabeth, straight on. Okay, good. Kaylee on our DMV communications team. She's going to be talking about our internal and external strategy to increase those numbers. And it's things like making sure that our folks are educated to be able to have informed responses. Because one of the questions we get a lot is, am I too old to donate? And the answer is no, just so you know. But we're really trying to encourage that education so our folks are ready to really help encourage folks to say yes. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kaylee to talk about some of these new things that we're rolling out that we're really excited about. So, Kaylee.
Thank you, Electra, for the warm introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylee, and I work on the DMV communications team. And I am very excited to announce the relaunch of our partnership with Donor Alliance, like Electra said. As part of the relaunch, we created a Donor Alliance page on the DMV intranet for all things Donor Alliance. So here, employees can find updates about our partnership, highlights from Donor Alliance events, things like photos, an events calendar, so that employees can stay tuned on when the Donor Alliance team will be on site, in addition to some of the other annual events Donor Alliance hosts. in addition to a feedback form where we invite DMV employees to share their ideas and their input on our partnership. So another thing I'll note, which I'm so happy Electra updated her background, which is a reminder for me to go and update mine. But for anyone who isn't on the DMV team who would like to help spread the word about organ registration and donation, you can also download some Donor Alliance themed virtual backgrounds that are on our internet page here. So I will throw the link in the chat, but we have a lot of exciting communications and events planned for this year. So stay tuned for future updates on our partnership. And the last thing I'll say is we're really excited to continue increasing the organ, tissue, and eye donation numbers here in Colorado, like Electra said, and maintain our leaderboard status on such a very, very vital and important initiative. So feel free to check out our page to learn more or reach out to me if you have any questions.
All right. Thanks, Electra. Thanks, Kaylee. And I'm just going to take 1 minute to share my experience. I'm sure many of you have been touched, but my best friend in high school had 2 brothers, and one brother became very ill and they could not figure out what it was. And they tried a number of treatments and frankly, they didn't work. So she lost that brother, but then they realized that it was a genetic thing. That brother was a donor, an organ donor. Her second brother became very ill. They realized it was the same thing and that if he got a transplant, he would survive. So her brothers, one was a donor, one was a recipient, 2, totally separate situations, but family really impacted by this. And so something I'll never forget. It's been some time now, but I'm sure many of you have been touched by organ donation or know somebody who has. And so it's a really important thing if you're able and willing to do so. So thanks for sharing all of that. Okay, next we have a legislative session update with Jimmy, if he managed to get on because he's busy at the Capitol. Jimmy, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Heidi. And good morning, everybody. Great to see so many folks on the call this morning. Despite being on Manny's account, I am Jimmy Reed, the Director of Legislative Affairs for the department. Going to go through a quick overview and brief of what's happening down at the state capitol. As many of you know, the 120-day legislative session began in early January. We're on day, we have 92 days left. The last day is May 7th, so counting down those. In a typical year, the General Assembly introduces about 650 to 750 different pieces of legislation. About 150 to 200 pieces of legislation impact the department directly. So far to date, it is pretty early, but the General Assembly has introduced 278 bills, and the department has reviewed many of those. I don't have them right in front of me. 74 of those 278 bills, and 45 of those have a fiscal impact to the department. So we work hard to make sure that we're adequately resourced for the bills that are introduced and advocate on behalf of all the divisions down here. Not surprisingly, tax and DMV have seen the most so far. Tax has seen 32 separate pieces of legislation. DMV has seen 27. SPG groups and all of the other divisions have seen 12 and 8 respectively. So lots of work, and we always appreciate all of the staff that put a lot of time into reviewing legislation to make my job easier down here at the state capitol. We're currently tracking 56 technical issues that we are trying to get addressed in those bills, and watching many others to make sure that we're able to implement and operationalize all of the bills that come our way. We do, as a department, run some bills proactively. I'll lead off with motor vehicle regulation and administration. This bill has actually already passed the House chamber and is up in the Senate committee tomorrow. If anyone wants to give it a read, it is House Bill 251076 and has a variety of cleanup measures, fraud prevention measures, and most importantly, does not require drives programming, which the DMV knows all too well is a very important aspect with the current upgrade going on. We also have another number of other bills in the queue waiting to be introduced. First, I'll mention peace officer status for certain DOR employees. This is regarding our newly created firearms division and having those folks post certified, as well as increasing some of the post authority within the auto industry division. We also have a natural medicine cleanup bill with a lot of the moving parts since the voters approved natural medicine in the state of Colorado. We're looking to clean up some of the provisions in that space, as well as work with CDPHE for some of the data collection aspects of the program. We also have a marijuana enforcement division cleanup bill, and then a few different bills regarding taxes. First, starting to convert the PTC rebate into a tax credit, repealing the downloadable software sales tax exemption, and repealing the interstate phone service tax exemption. So we have a lot on our plate and working hard down at the state capitol to get all of those things done. And one thing I know folks are very interested in is the Joint Budget Committee. They are meeting every day, trying to balance this very tough budget year. Most of the negotiations will come to fruition in late March, early April. And that's when they are discussing the long bill or the state's budget. So I think that's my quick and dirty rundown of what's happening down here. We always appreciate everyone's help and hard work during this very busy time for the department.
Definitely, Jimmy. Thank you and your whole team. This is a really challenging department. They just love to meddle with what we do. So thank you for that. And thanks to everybody who supports what they do. All right. Quickly, we have Ashley to do a Fill Your Values pie drawing.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Happy to be here with you today. We have 335 of you are participating in Fill Your Values Pie, which is super exciting. Love to see the participants. And that means we also have 77 people now who have completely filled their values pie. So if you're wondering like, oh my gosh, I've missed out 2 quarters in a row, what am I going to do? Still plenty of time to get in on Fill Your Values Pie and potentially win. So at this point, we have 336 slice earnings this quarter. So that's how many names are on here in this drawing, because you can earn multiple slices. But let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see who this quarter is going to win 8 hours of annual leave due to all the amazing things they're doing around the values. Ben Wilkins, congratulations. I will be reaching out to you, but we'll make sure to get that loaded. And let me know if you have any questions or you want to participate and Fill Your Values Pie. Ask me, ask your supervisor. Happy to help.
Thanks, Ashley. That's fun. It'd be fun if we could spin that thing a whole bunch more times next month. All right. Thanks, everybody. And so finally, we'd like to wrap with our February Always Help Award winner. And this time we're doing it a little bit differently. We've asked the nominator to recognize the nominee or the winner. So Allison Robinette from Marijuana Enforcement and Natural Medicine, are you on?
I am. Thanks, Heidi.
We're ready.
Well, I just wanted to say, so Tim Tran, thank you very much. Tim showed up every Thursday with a smile on his face and a happy trash day. So on behalf of all of the natural medicine team who are donning our Denver Best Waste and Recycling bin backgrounds, just thank you so much, Tim. That natural medicine division team is Dominique Mendiola, Kyle Lambert, Casey Spire, Cindy Perkins, Amelia Myers, Travis Haley, Michelle Bauman, and Heather Draper. We're really grateful for all your help in getting us stood up and launched this past year. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Thanks so much for taking the time to recognize Tim. And Tim, thank you for all you did to support the group. Okay, we are right at 11 o'clock. I don't think we had questions come in this month. I know we had one that it's a really small group that we want to address specifically. And then other than that, I don't believe we had questions this month. So with that, we will wrap and see you all next month. Thank you for attending today.